Hey everybody, this is Gordon and welcome to day 6 of the Valhalla Project Homestead Marathon exercise. And for those of you who are now scrambling around to try to find the day 5 video, there isn't one. And the reason being is that was our power down day. That was the first power down day we did in the exercise. There'll be 3 more to follow. One of the first things we noticed, and if you look at some of the tapes that have been posted up and comments that have been posted up by our previous Valhallans, almost universally what they talk about is how quiet it is here. Now granted, we got the birds going and the roosters and the sheep baaing and things like that, but overall it's very quiet. We don't get any traffic noise, rarely an airplane flies overhead. But what we really noticed yesterday in the house was that once that power went off, it got to be real quiet. And you don't realize during the day how much ambient noise is going on there. The other thing that really struck us was how dark it was in there. It really got to be dark, and you can see from looking back in here, we've got a lot of windows on the south side of the house. Fewer on the north side, but that makes sense. However, it was, because we had an overcast day, at times it felt like we were inside a cave. So it kind of leads us to think that in earlier days, prior to electricity, that people spent a whole lot more time outdoors than they did indoors, simply because they couldn't see well enough. We're kind of lucky in that the food spoilage never became a big issue. We were able to take out of the refrigerator what we thought we would need for the day, put it outside in the lounge area, which is, because of the outside temperature was in the 40s, so that kind of kept it where we weren't too worried. One of the things that we were careful to do was to remind ourselves not to be opening and closing the refrigerator constantly, because you do it reflexively or habitually. You know, you want to grab something, boom, out comes the refrigerator. We've had a lot of Valhallans here who seem to enjoy looking into the refrigerator as much as they do watching television or the screen of their smartphones. So it takes a little kita, and for those of you who have never heard the expression kita, that's kick in the ass, to motivate them to know what they're looking for, get into the refrigerator, pull it out. So in order not to do that, we kind of put a little wood stoppage there, more as a reminder than as an actual barrier. And that worked real well. You know, there may be some criticism in the sense of the exercise in that we knew when the power was going off and we knew when the power was coming on. In an actual situation, you wouldn't necessarily know that. It could be 10 minutes, it could be 10 days or more. So if it's wintertime here, when most of the power outages occur, by the way, ice storms, snow, that sort of thing, sharp winds, we would take everything out of the refrigerators after a day or two, put them in the lounge, because the ambient temperature in the lounge and the outside temperature in the winter is enough to keep them safe and preserve them. You know, it really wasn't too bad yesterday when we were down without power, because we had our propane stove. We were able to do all the cooking we needed. We were able to make coffee, which is, you know, absolutely a necessity, not a luxury in the morning. Yeah, yesterday we did a lot of our normal routine. Obviously, you know, the animals need to be taken care of, the birds need to be put away at night, that sort of thing. We also looked at it in a way kind of like a down day, and for part of the afternoon we fired up a lantern because it was too dark to really see, and sat there and played gin rummy for a couple of hours and really enjoyed that. It was sort of a reminder of times past for Chris and I when we were on these endless trips around the world to and from combat zones, that you'd be stuck somewhere and the cards would come out. And I think a lot of the vets can identify with that. Between the wood stove, which got the temperature in the room way up into the high 60s and low 70s, and the propane lanterns that we were using, which actually are considerable source of additional heat, one that you might not even take into consideration because you're thinking in terms of light rather than heat, but they put out a heck of a lot of heat too. And so between the two of them, we were up in the mid-70s easy during the day. We had to feed the stove occasionally during the night. We'll need to learn how to operate that and tweak it a little bit better so that we have it banked for a fire during the night. But this morning, the residual heat was very comfortable in the room, and the cast iron devices that we put on top with water in them to help humidify the air actually contain more stored heat than the stove itself did. So it was, in that sense, it was a big success. You know, a common expression in the preparedness and readiness community is that 2 is 1 and 1 is none. Basically meaning that you have to have at least a layer or more, preferably, of redundancy in your backup equipment. And last night that came to pass. I got up in the middle of the night. The candle that we had left lit in the bedroom to light the way as a night light had burned out. Went to my headlamp. The headlamp had failed, so at that point I had to reach for the flashlight. And it really drove home to us that if you've got rechargeable devices, make sure they're charged. In one case we had a rechargeable lantern that wasn't. Make sure you have plenty of mantles for your lanterns if you're using lanterns, because they go quickly. Batteries the same way for battery-driven devices. And the more the better in this case, because it gives you a real level of reassurance that you're not going to be stuck. That's kind of it from our first power outage day. It was a good experience. It was not at all unpleasant. We were able to adapt quickly and to sustain during the day. We're looking forward to tweaking our processes a little bit so that we'll be more ready for the second one. But and we'll see how that works. We'll let you all know. But for right now, that's it for Valhalla. We're now power up again. We'll be available on the internet between 19 and 2100. And Francis wants to let you know that he's alive and well and enjoying things here at Valhalla, as are we, and as will you, the combat vet, when you come here.